Hey everybody, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching. Kind of in this series on this Toyota Camry here. The quick story behind it is I got it from my grandpa and I ended up selling my Honda Fit, which y'all saw earlier in the week in this video series. So far we have put engine mounts on it. This is the 4-cylinder, the 2.4, 2002 model. We've also put suspension on all 4 corners. Both of them, really not bad jobs. This one's probably going to be the easiest of the 3. I hope I don't jinx myself. We're going to put a valve cover on it because it does have a pretty bad leak. I mean, we're talking about a car with 220,000 miles on it, so we're going to have maintenance like what we've been having to do so far with it. Really not bad so far though. So hopefully this will be easy. I appreciate y'all watching as always. You may be a newcomer to the channel because I mostly work on small engine equipment. However, I do the occasional car repair like in this video. Any of that interests you, feel free to subscribe here on the channel. You can also find me on my website at ellismowers.com. My email is ellis@ellismowers.com. And you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at ellismowers09. Let's go ahead and get started on this repair. I hope y'all enjoy it. I hope y'all learn something. And really quickly, more of my videos are kind of a narrative sense as opposed to a first do this, then do this. So if you're looking for a very quick how-to video, this is probably not going to be for you. However, if you want a more of a longer form narrative type, we'll go ahead and get started on this Camry. And I hope y'all enjoy the video. Let's get going. And very quickly, I forgot in the intro, one other thing I'm going to do is we have a low idle issue, especially whenever you reconnect the battery. That I've been told is a throttle body, like carbon in the throttle body. While we're over here taking the gasket and replacing that for the valve cover, we are going to do that as well. So stay tuned for that also. Alright guys, so here's that engine. It's 2.4. This is an 02 model, so this is the first year for this 2.4. They had a 2.2. This one's got the whole timing chain and all that good stuff on it. Probably will outlast most cars out there, honestly. Still running good. I haven't even checked the oil since I changed it about 2,500 miles ago. And nah, I think we're doing okay. I'll give it a wipe off and just check. I know the valve cover gasket may cause some oil to leak. I think a tensioner's coming soon. Excuse me. Quick walk around. I mean, the car is very clean. It has just over 220,000 miles on it. And really replacing the suspension in my last video helped out a lot with the ride. A lot. You don't realize how tired a suspension is until you replace it. So, all it looks like we got to do here is we might have a little wiring to deal with. But first, we've got these 10mm nuts and these 2 caps that I think we just have to pop off. Let me grab the tools necessary for that, and we will do that first. Alright, guys, let's get started here. And let me get my table over here so that I don't lose anything. Alright, so I took those 2 10 mils off, and I think it's just little, I think these are little clips. Just like, yeah. There we go. You can see the culprit where it's been leaking. I think he said he did one of these a while back. Let's see. A couple of grounds and whatnot. I'm going to go ahead, I see some grounds here, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery, and then we'll continue on here. Alright guys, battery is disconnected. Like I said, we're going to replace the coils while we're here, coils and plugs. I think the coils are original. Plugs I know have about 100,000 miles on them. So, let's see. So we just need to push out here and pull. One of the easiest things you can do. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. 10 mils. 1, 2, 3, 4. Trying to stay out of the way for y'all. Maybe I'll get you over here. You might be able to see a little bit better. That light's not blinding you, right? It should just pop off. See, we got a little oil in there. A little oil in the wells. That one's definitely more than that one. Three, 4. So the one furthest over here, I don't know the firing order for this thing. I don't think this is either that's number 1 or this is number 1. Had a little bit of oil in there, but like I said, this ain't nothing. 220,000 miles on the original coils. I'll even show you Toyota Denso. Y'all gonna hate me, but I'm gonna put some Amazon coils in it. It went in that element right there, and I'm probably pushing 10,000 miles on them, and they're doing fine. So, all right. Next order of business: 10 millimeter to hold this on. Small bolt. That's a little wiring harness bracket that'll get out of the way. Should. We'll make sure these are the same length here, and they are. We'll put them in the order that they come off on my little bench area here. You have a couple of threaded star bolts here on the top. So we had nut, bolt. That's the left side. Nut, bolt, nut. And it looks like we got a hose to get rid of back here in the back. We've got 2 hoses, one in the back, one on the side. It's like we've got 2 bolts in the middle here between the coils. That one was loose. Those are not very tight. Let's see. We got the ones in the back here as well. Left. This is kind of my backup. That's why it sounds pretty bad. Let's see. Reaching over. We're going to pull the ground, or this bracket next for the coil wires. Just have that kind of freed up. See if I can get to the back here. Back bolt, there we go. We're leaking pretty bad from the left rear back here too. I don't know if y'all can see that. Right there. So we had that going against us. Valve cover wise, it looks like all I need to do is take this hose off and that hose off, and we should hopefully be able to just pull this thing off after that. I don't see. I was leaking pretty bad from the back there. I don't see anything else, so that's good. Alright. I'm going to grab some pliers. Alright. Pliers. Got them. I'm just wiggling this off. I mean, this is loose already, so. Easy. There we go. That's like a PVC. What does that go down to? It goes into the intake, so it's probably supplies the vacuum. If I were to guess, I'm not sure. Be easy on this as well. Oh man. Wow. Hoses get stiff after 20 years, I suppose. Let's see. It'll be nice and easy with it. Hopefully we can get it off here. As I pull with all my might and slide across the floor. There we go. So it's easier to take it off of the air intake over there than it is to take it off the valve cover. By far. Like, by very far. So let me get that back in its kind of spot. We're just going to kind of leave that on the intake, or the valve cover, as we get it off here. Alright. This thing should pop off now. We might have to kind of work it around some wires, but it wants to come off already. Just this thing is need like a little bit more leverage apparently to get it. We just got to work around the wiring harness a little bit. Let's see. Alright, I'm going to pull it off of this mount right here. This mount for the alternator. I'm just going to pull this wiring harness off of the mount. That way it gives me a little bit more leverage when it comes to that. Again, 10 mil. super easy. That just gives me more leverage to get the wiring harness off. Again, battery is disconnected. Let's see what else here. I think we can manage otherwise, hopefully. Shoot. What did I do? Break the clip off the plastic? Yeah. Probably should have been more careful than that. Won't kill anything. I mean, this would be like easiest thing on the planet if I didn't have to fight this wiring harness here. There we go. I really don't want to take that off. Let me look up a little bit better way, because the last thing I want to do is keep messing this up. I already kind of broke a little, I mean, it isn't going to hurt anything, what I did. A little plastic tab right here that hooked onto the harness. Let me see what I need to do. Is there a bolt down there to get this thing off? No, it's just kind of all just kind of together down here in like a mount type setting. I don't know exactly what we can do to. I don't really see. Let's see. We're just going to try and really easily get that valve cover out from around that area there. Really easily. And we need to be careful here. There we go. There we go. Alright, how are we faring under here? So if we look, it looks like this area got crushed when the new gasket got put on, which may explain why there was a little bit of oil in some of the wells, spark plug wells. But if you look inside, look inside here, you see some of the gasket residue from the old gasket, which we need to be very careful to take out. So I don't think he got the old gasket completely off. That probably explains the issue with that right there. Because that's it's like it's burnt. So we have to be really careful when we take this off, because we don't want to get anything into the engine. So that's probably why it wasn't seating properly. But, I mean, take a look inside. Looks pretty good. I don't really see any sludge or craziness or anything like that for 220,000 miles. I've got a little bit of crustiness from use. But I don't, like I said, I don't really see anything ridiculous. You can see where it was leaking kind of back here and back there. So the next order of business, I just need to kind of clean this up really nicely with a rag. Yeah, a rag will get it, because this is just one of them tight gaskets right there. So one of them crushed gaskets. But that would kind of explain why we had the issue with the leaking valve cover, was because it looks like he forgot to take off those areas in the middle. So let me get this kind of cleaned up, make sure no junk gets inside the engine, and we will continue on here. Alright guys, like I said, while we got the valve cover off, I've gotten most of it cleaned, the areas cleaned that need to be cleaned. Yeah, and there's your timing chain. It's seems to be pretty good. Like I said, I'm no expert on this mess. I'd rather work on mowers, but hey, it's always good to keep your cars right too. There's one clip here on the back. We're going to separate this air intake box from the throttle body, and so that's what we're going to do now. Hopefully y'all can see it okay right here. And all we're doing is separating it. Alright, perfect. Now, I'll take off that whole intake tube slash pipe right there, since it's would be relatively easy just to get it out of the way. That's what I might do. Let me grab that's a 10 mil, isn't it? Don't know where to go with this, so I can get the best angle. Okay. Pull it off the top here. Alright, there's a sensor attached to it, but that gives us good enough access to the throttle body. If we take a look inside the throttle body, let's see if I can get some light in here. You can kind of see where it's getting pretty carboned up. Ew. There. And see if I can open it up some. You can kind of feel, you can definitely feel the carbon down there. See that? So what we're gonna do is, I have some throttle body cleaner over there. We're going to soak this thing in throttle body cleaner. Let me read the instructions and I'll tell you how I'm going to go about doing it. Alright guys, so we just kind of sprayed this in, let it sit a little bit. It's hard to show what I was doing, but just wiped it off with the towel there. Just tried to be easy with it, and it seems like we got most of it. It's a little bit difficult because this is a drive-by-wire situation, which I'm kind of surprised in 2002 that they were doing this with Toyota, but hey, it works great. It works a lot better than the 07s that I've driven, so or the 07 that I have driven. It's a lot more smooth on the, but I've looked in there and it looks like it has kind of dissolved some of the carbon out of the throttle body, which is good. So now I'll go ahead and put the intake pipe back on here, and we will continue on from that. Again, we're just trying to be careful. And I went ahead and did it now because I have a little bit better access with the valve cover off. Also, I figured out that it's a little bit easier to take off these zip tie clips and that are attached to this stud. And that allows you a little bit more freedom of movement for this wiring harness. You're still not fully like mobile with it, but you're better. So let me put this back on. Yeah. Come on, buddy. It doesn't want to go on very well. Alright, so we're just going to get this bottom portion on now. This bottom pipe. Ugh. Need to get that clip off and away. Man, wants to battle me, guys. I just wanted to get back on the throttle body. It's not that hard. There we go. Alright. Put this hose back where it's supposed to be. And now I'll put the 10 mil back on here up top as well. For that. Which I don't think I've got it on correctly. Oh man. That'll work. So now we're going to move to the valve cover, which I've got right over here. You can see where, like I said, on the right around these bolt holes in the middle, where everything's kind of like dried up and crushed. You can see where the gasket is completely separated, so I don't think it got put on correctly. Fully. Quite honestly, it's a hard thing to do, I think. I don't see any residue or residual, but we've got that going on. Let's get the new valve cover gasket out of the box. While we are also here, we're going to go ahead. Oh, that's a little bitty valve cover, or a very light valve cover. We're going to go ahead and change the plugs out since we have better access to the plugs. Let's see. Is it the skinny one or the fat one. Hopefully this is enough leverage. If not, I'll go back. What's this one? Y'all seen a man take spark plugs out. I'll do these 4. We'll look at them and then we'll put the 4 new ones in. Alright guys, so here are the plugs. There were a couple of them, I believe the 2 on the left here, caked in oil. Like a lot of oil. And then these 2 right here, you can see they're burning white. I think I had a lean code that was on the car the last time that I pulled the codes. Car's running fine. Car's getting like 31 miles a gallon. But still got some lean codes and stuff in there. So I guess some of the plug seals were starting to leak a little bit as well. Or the coils, excuse me. But I've got NGKs right here. They should already be gapped to the proper NGK iridiums. They should be gapped to what it needs to be gapped to on this car from the factory, and usually they are. We'll go ahead and put these in. I'll check the gap between the 2. So we're going with, we had Densos in here. You can see the gap had kind of gotten a little bit wider over time. And we're putting NGKs in. They're pretty tit for tat when it comes to spark plugs, so we'll go ahead and just put them in. Make sure you don't cross thread them. You will regret your life if you do. Or regret some of life's decisions. I won't say regret your life because that's a little mean. But you can kind of see where there's the residual oil that was in there. I mean, the car was running fine otherwise, so it did have a misfire code, multiple cylinder misfire. And I didn't feel it in the car. It's kind of strange, but anyways, I'll stop talking. I'll get these 4 plugs in, and then we'll go ahead and put the valve cover gasket back on. Alright guys, so here's the new gasket on. You just gotta make sure it all gets into all the sets into kind of the groove, so to speak, of all of your crevices and whatnot in your valve cover. So I'm just kind of pressing it down here and there a little bit. This side kind of feels like it wants to kind of not come loose, but kind of fall out of the groove. One other thing that I did that I kind of learned to do from the Honda is you just have this gap, machine gap, kind of in between the timing cover of the engine here, and put RTV on the front and the rear of that. So that's what I did there. Now let's see if we can put this bad boy back on with minimal trouble, because it's that time. Remember, it's a little bit of an odd fit, so to speak. But we'll get it in there. Make sure we won't lose it when we turn it over here. Alright, so now let's work it in there. Okay, wiring harness in the back, that's the last obstacle. There we go. So there we go. Okay. So we've got it on. And looks good, honestly. Ooh. Looks very raised. The other one looks really crushed, so I'm wondering if he put too much torque on it. I'm going to look up the torque specs, and we're just going to go around and see the torque specs and the pattern, and we'll go around and do that, and then we will put the coils in and hook the battery up and see if I've destroyed anything. Alright guys, valve cover is on. I just snugged the bolts. I barely, because I saw that it's 8 foot-pounds. It's not much torque at all for this. So I've got my torque wrench set for 8. We're going to go in sequence. I'm going to start. I didn't see a specific sequence by looking up. I had a hard time finding things in the first place. So I'm going to start on the back. So this is what I found. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but we're putting the valve cover back on, and it says 8 foot-pounds for the cylinder head cover with the 8 bolts and 2 nuts. And that's what I got. So we're going to start. It didn't show a specific order. We're going to start in the back here. Oh. And we're going to do 8. Okay, I'll go to the far front. There we go. I'll do the back now, do all the corners, and then I'll go into the middle. I'll do the front left now. Okay. Then we'll just kind of work our way around. I'll do this one here in the middle next, and the rear. Gosh. We'll go to this one. And you can feel how far it has pushed down on the gasket. do my middle. We'll do one of the middle ones. And then we'll come over. Okay. We'll do this one in the rear now. Like I said, I just wanted to get all the corners first, because especially that's where it was leaking the worst. And on the rear. This one next. Last but not least, we'll do this one in the middle. Okay, so that's all 8 of them. I'm going to go around them all one more time to make sure that they're properly torqued. And then I'll put the coils in. The hoses back on that I kind of showed you originally. I need to find some dielectric grease. Hopefully I have some here somewhere. And we'll see what we can manage. Hopefully I haven't messed anything up. We'll connect the battery back. I know we're getting pretty long on this video. Nothing that I haven't shown y'all already. Taking off is what I'm going to be doing, putting it back on. So I'll see you when we get ready to start it up. Alright guys, everything's hooked back up. There's your valve cover gasket number. I'm sure that, you know, when you go into Rock Auto or Amazon, you type in that. We got Fel Pro, so went with the pros for that. We're going to see what the Amazon coils do. And hopefully the oil issue that we had in cylinders would be either 1 and 3 or 2 and 4, wasn't it? Not sure what the firing order on this car is, but hey, we put all the hoses back, dielectric grease on the boots of the coils, and we'll check the oil while we're here too, just to make sure that we're good, that we haven't leaked out too much. We are on the bottom end of the stick, so I do need to add a little bit of oil. We'll do that here in just a second. Let's crank it up. Hook the battery back up. Number one, I want to see if the low idle comes back after cleaning the throttle body. It may take a second to clear its throat since I had a bunch of stuff in there, but we'll see what happens here. It's going through its idle relearn process now. Got a flashing check engine light, so I did something weird. I must have at least. What did I miss? What did I miss? plugged everything in. I screwed everything in. Let me check the codes and see what I missed, maybe. Well, there's your problem. Let me put that back in. Oh, silly me. I love when I do stuff like that. Dumb stuff. It's your intake hose. No wonder it's... I can't believe the thing ran as good as it did. See if I can get this... I'm going to take this cover back off and just put that back on properly. And we'll start it up again and see how it runs. Alright, try it again. With this connected this time. That's a little better. We'll let it get to its warm-up cycle and see if it stays running like it should. I'll go ahead and put the cover back on it while we're waiting. Honestly, it seems like it's doing quite a bit better. Let me put it in reverse. Let me get this light up. Because when I originally did this thing would be surging up and down. We got a little more work to do. I think that's coming from the belt tensioner there. As you can hear it when I turn when the AC turned on there. Okay, it's going to stop now, but so obviously I know it's not good to be out of your car whenever it's in gear, but you see it got quiet now. So once that tensioner kind of warms up, it quits doing that. But the good thing is it's idling so much better. When I originally did this, it would not do this. Drive, oh, that's so much better. I'd be struggling like on the first drive cycle to stay idling because of how bad it was. So, we've got that going good. I think it's dinner time. I'm gonna wrap everything up and we're gonna monitor for oil leaks. I don't see anything crazy right off the bat. We'll double check it with the lights. Clean so far. Need to get that up. And on the back side here, everything appears to be clean so far, so it's not leaking like a sieve. Let me clean up, go get some dinner, we'll wrap this video up. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Alright guys, we're going to end this series now that we've got it all back together. I just missed that hose and the thing's running great. I took it to work and back. I've probably driven it about 85-ish miles since I did this yesterday, and it's running great. Like I said, I didn't have any issue with the low idle. Right off the bat, connecting the battery, which is good. We did clear out a decent amount of gunk out of the throttle body, so that helped, and I'm sure that the valve cover doesn't hurt anything. I've looked and there's no leaks or anything that I can tell either, which is great. So hopefully we're good for a while. And that really kind of completes a lot of the big stuff that I wanted to do with the car. I think I've got to do a couple of other things. I'm gonna see if the catalyst code comes back on the check engine light. Usually it'll show up after a few days. It says catalyst efficiency below threshold. So I don't know if like putting plugs and coils in it are going to help it out a little bit. I don't think it will, but we'll see. It's not something that I absolutely have to do because I don't live in a county that does emissions testing here in North Carolina, so that's a good thing. And I thought originally that the catalytic converter was the thing that was rattling whenever I first cranked it up. I think I did a little bit in this video, and I think I tried to show y'all what the that I'm almost certain that is the belt tensioner doing a lot of rattling and whatnot. Probably just because from, like I said, 20 years, pretty worn out. So we might be doing that along down the line, and then once we get that done, I mean, we're really not going to have to do much to this car until something breaks. And you all know it's a Toyota, so hopefully those are going to be few and far between, considering I know the history of this car, and I know that it has a good history. So thank y'all for watching. Hopefully, we'll see if we get to the tensioner before the end of the year. If so, it'll be next in the video series. And we'll see if we end up doing a catalytic converter. It's not going to be too much, and like I said, if I sell off my old cat, I'll probably make money on the job, aside from the labor and time involved with it. We also might be doing a little bit of work on the Honda Element before the end of the year. We will see if we get there. If not, I'll post those videos in 2022 as well. However, so far, I hope y'all have enjoyed this Car Week series here on the channel. A little bit different than what I usually do. If you're a newcomer to the channel, feel free to subscribe. We do a little bit of car stuff, not much. Most of the stuff I do is primarily lawn mowers, riding mowers, push mowers, and other small engine equipment, more so lawn equipment. And I'd appreciate if y'all subscribed. Again, my website's ellismowers.com. Email is ellis@ellismowers.com if you have any questions about any repairs done on this car, or questions or any feedback or whatnot about this video or any video. And you can catch me at ellismowers09 on Instagram and Facebook. Thank y'all again for watching and for the support throughout these nearly 5 years of Ellis Mowers, and I will catch y'all in the next video. See you then.